Let's talk about dating.
Dating.
Okay. And what that feels like. We're two single people. And so dating is definitely something that we are, or at least one of us is interested in.
So who
But
said who?
I'm just saying, you don't want to see somebody. But long story short, I'm just
Who?
saying, like, when it comes to dating,
I
like,
believe you.
tell me, what is it that you look for when you're selecting a person to spend your time with?
What do I look for?
Mhm.
What do I look for?
Like for me, I look for a person who is like asking me questions. They're interested in knowing about me, but also person who likes to laugh, make me laugh.
Hmm.
Um, I also like to feel safe. Those are things that I look for. And so just wanted to give you a little something to start with when we talk about what is it that you look for when you're selecting someone to spend time with.
Ah, somebody who knows references well.
Okay,
Movie
tell me more.
references, like SpongeBob reference, about the Brandon Mac reference,
Okay.
about any type of like, you don't have to know all of them. Then I throw
So
obviously.
cultural references is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah, that's it's one of those things for me where it's just like, it just shows me like, it gives me an idea of your type of humor. And it shows me that like we share a similar type of humor that everybody doesn't always have. You know what I'm saying? Like we connect on a level that everybody doesn't connect on because everybody
Mhm.
doesn't know these references. And that's okay. But it's just like the fact that I know you know these references,
It's
like,
like you feel like you're of like mind.
yeah, because there's a certain type of humor that makes us both laugh.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That we can both like be able to throw it there and catch it and then like pass something else back to it. Um,
Okay, I heard a lot of for that ass second thing you go get
so
it.
something else that I look for, like respect.
You know,
Respect.
can I tell you something? I think that is my biggest that's my number one priority when
Respect.
it comes to any relationships is basic freaking respect. Like, can you just respect me enough or give me the benefit of the doubt? That's another thing. That's a big one on my list. Giving me the benefit of the doubt that if I've shown you that I'm this person
Hmm.
and something happens that I may appear to you that I'm out of character,
Right.
give me the benefit of the doubt,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that's all I ask people is just,
Yeah,
you know,
just respect, like simple respect, like simple respect as a person. You don't have to like. I'm not saying praise me. I'm not saying like just simple courteous respect.
if we in the bank, respect can go out the window. But outside of that room, we're going to use that respect thing, okay?
You know, that's just certain details that I keep them for those who need to know.
Okay. We'll
Um,
see who needs to know.
yeah.
And so,
But yes, respect, respect. Um, Another big one for me, consideration.
oh my God, that is a huge consideration.
Consideration.
Consider my feelings, consider my position, consider my time. Oh my God, go on and on.
Consideration, like because I act sometimes I feel overly considerate, but it's not a problem for me. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I feel like, okay, like you can calm down a little bit. But it's just like, oh, but it makes my heart so happy just to be considerate, just to let you know that it's like, I thought about this, like, and I want to consider, it's just one of those things, like you said, I think you said something earlier about like the things you like, you go out here and you seek for. You said something in relation to
Right.
that.
When it comes to values,
Yeah.
that you tend to value the thing that you didn't get.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And growing up in a household where you're the baby in the house, I think you said you
I'm
kind
the
of got
middle.
you're in
I'm
the
the
middle.
middle.
But
Yeah.
I think me and you had a conversation outside of obviously this before where we said something about we can relate to like being like the baby and watching somebody grow up and being like the young one.
Yeah. Well, so to you guys who are listening, what we were talking about was when you are an older sibling, there's always someone that you caring for, which
Hmm.
means you're sometimes putting what you need before with that person who's caring for needs.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's the baby of the family, there's nobody for them to care for. So they make it all about them because everybody made it all about them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit about what she's talking about.
And being the baby, being the youngest one, if you're the youngest one or you've been the younger
Are
one
you the
for a
baby of
while.
the family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to have the opportunity to see everybody else experience life a little bit quicker and like have more opportunity than you, and you get to see them experience stuff and you get an idea of like how they handle things and how you should or should not go about handling something when it's your turn to experience. So being the youngest or the younger one for a certain time, where you remember being the one that was looking up to everybody else and what they were doing, and like you were the baby of the family, you know what it's like to be the smaller one, to where everything about you is small, including being like your emotions, like whatever type of feelings that you have and whatever type of opinions and thoughts that you have, it's always kind of made smaller because you're the smallest.
Well, yeah, and I
And
think enthusiasm kind of drains because when it's the first child, everybody's excited.
yeah,
Then the second child, it's like, okay. By the third child, it's like, okay, we've seen it.
yeah,
And so I can understand why the babies of the family can sometimes feel unseen.
yeah, yeah. So
I thought it was the middle, just so you know, for record.
I feel like the middle feels like that too because they were once the youngest.
Well,
They,
they're not the oldest and they're not the youngest.
right, but they also have the experience of feeling both. Once upon a time, they were the youngest. You know what I'm saying? Before the youngest, like another one came along that made them the younger sibling instead of the youngest now. So it's like they had some time to experience that, and now that there's another sibling in front of them, they can also experience getting like the life of an older sibling. So they kind of like get a little bit of both. So they always feel like the more conflicted type
You
of
know, it's
way.
interesting because my brother is 6 years younger than me. And what I remember is when me and my sister were coming up together, we were 3 years apart.
Do
So
you
we were
have some
closer together.
snacks? Okay.
And so when we were coming up together was one of those things where I didn't feel like the baby because she was a girl and I was a boy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until an actual third child came along that it felt like a baby.
Okay.
You know, it was before it was she was the girl of the group, I was the boy of the group.
Okay.
It wasn't really about a age thing.
Yeah.
So that's interesting versus when they share the same genders, right? When it's all males or female, all females.
Right.
What is that? Tell me a little bit about that dynamic because, you know, I had an older sister but a younger brother. And I think, you know, you've dealt with sisters.
Yeah.
So talk about that, like what that's like being a sister, sisters.
Being a sister of sisters. Oh my God. Being a sister of sisters, you learn so much. Like, if you have a sister, you go ahead and like having a sister, having any sibling period gives you, I feel like it's an advanced level of maturity in life. Having a sibling period.
You know why? Because they gather your ass up real quick. Tell you your
But
stuff thing.
when it's just sisters, when you're growing up in a house full of sisters, God, it's like you growing up in a household, like, especially when you're a baby. You're in a household where it's just like you have a mom, then you have second mom. Oh, and then there's guess what, bitch, is also a third mom. You know what I'm saying?
Not just a bunch of mothers. Okay.
Everybody's your damn mama. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like, when you're a baby, everybody your damn mama. Everybody tell you what to do. Everybody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know, everybody's against you. You know what I'm saying? You're the littlest one, and they make sure they make it on you every day. They get to tell you what to do, and you don't get no say so in shit.
So what does that lead to when the younger sibling now grows up in their 20s and they have their own bustling life? What does it turn you into? Like, are you a rebel?
Yes. Yes. I would definitely say it opened me up to some like rebelliousness because I remember like when I was a kid, I used to always wanted to do everything that they did. I wanted to be up under them. I wanted them to I wanted to follow along with them, do everything that they did. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that I saw them do, I wanted to be a part of or like knew how to do it and stuff like that. But you know, when you're smaller as siblings, there's like if there's more than two, you want to leave at least one of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's kind of like the two against one type of thing, or it's just like sometimes you choose like sometimes siblings choose which ones they want to like team up with and like go against the other one. But it was just like when I was a kid, I used to always want to do everything that my older sister said, right? Um, but then, but because they would like always like make me remind me that I'm smaller and I'm not big enough to do everything that they can do yet.
Mm.
Once I got older, like because I like after enough like occasions like that occur, you learn how to evolve on your own, right? You learn how to like create navigate your own path. It's just like, well, if you can't go hang out with them and do whatever it is you want to do with them, what else you gonna do? You gotta figure out what it is you gonna do to entertain yourself in the meantime while they over there doing their thing.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's just like after enough times of doing that over the years and stuff like that, you learn how to navigate and find your own tribe, find your own type of people. You learn how to be your own type of person instead of being like them because they wouldn't, because you were the little one, they didn't necessarily always allow you to be with them because you were so little and
Well,
you weren't
one of
old
the
enough.
things, I've always said to people, especially young people, I said, move away from home.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you need to discover who you are away
Mm-hmm.
from your family,
Mm-hmm.
because your family would constantly remind you that you're this person that you may not be anymore,
That they
or
perceive you
you right,
as.
that they
Yeah.
perceive you as.
That they perceive you
And
as.
being away from home, you get to discover who that person is. You get
Yeah.
to make the mistakes. You get to not have them held against you because,
Yeah.
family will bring some stuff you did, right?
Hello, one thing about family, that's where you
Um,
learn what a hater is, that's where you learn what jealousy is, that's where you learn what a like where envious means,
okay,
that's where you learn what a hater is. Um
it's always the ones closest to you, right?
like your family that you're born into them for you to be able to
Hmm.
prepare for whatever it is that you gotta deal with later on in life.
But one of the things I want to go back to was you talked about is siblings and, having siblings. So when I grew up, my sister and I kind of grew up together, and then my brother and I grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
My sister and my brother are like 9 years apart.
Okay.
So they didn't really have much interaction, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I was like the middle person.
Yeah.
And so I say that just all that to say that it was interesting because when with my sister, I was the one who was tagging behind her,
Mm-hmm.
but it was only to monitor her.
Mm.
Because your mother be like, take your brother, because if your brother leaves, you ain't
Yeah.
gonna tell. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then with my younger brother, I felt more like a parent
Okay.
because we were 6 years apart. And um I
So what
just
you're
felt
saying is just you
what
felt
for
more
him.
like a hall monitor.
Well,
You
it's
was
I tell
did you tell on your sister?
um I think my sister knew not to do stuff
Mm.
for me to tell
Yeah.
because I don't recall ever having to tell
Okay.
her. Now when it came to my brother, the
Mm-hmm.
situation was that because he was younger, I felt a little more responsible for his welfare.
Yeah.
And so sometimes he'll say I felt like a parent to him,
Okay.
which he was grateful for.
Okay.
Just want to make that thing. But it was one of those things where I just felt like that I had to protect him
Mm.
from because my mother was working, my parents were working, and
And you were the younger sibling?
no, I was the middle.
Okay.
Hmm.
But I'm saying to your brother.
Yeah, I'm the middle. Who's younger than me? He's 6 years
Okay.
younger.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But, okay, good question.
Okay.
For anybody who might have been confused, he's 6 years younger.
Okay.
And so, growing up with him, we had our tumultuous moments.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful to have that bond that I'm not sure that my sister has. Because
Mm-hmm.
when it's two boys, they bond differently in male stuff where the sister feels alone.
Okay.
The sister might feel alone because she
Yeah.
doesn't have anybody to identify with whatever female things are.
Right. 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 Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Right. Right. Right.
And so I think about that often with my sister,
Okay.
not wanting her to feel left out. She is very
Yeah.
much a part of the unit.
Yeah.
But I can understand as a girl being
Yeah.
around boys,
And was that might have been the thing too that made me end up hanging around. Well, I feel like me and my sisters had like similar childhoods as far as like growing up around boys. We were always in more like boy dominant, like what I'm saying, like we just
prefer being around boys over
yeah. I
girls.
feel like me and all of my sisters like well. both of my sisters, we had an experience where it was just like, there were more boys around than like where we were hanging out at. We just always had like male figures in our life, and then maybe because like we just had like nothing but women in the house, my mama and my sisters all the time. So
Okay.
we maybe naturally gravitated more towards feeling
Right
like,
energy.
yeah, and that's just like I'm just now thinking about it because like I said, I had my sisters and I was always wanting to do things where I wanted, with them that I wanted to do with them, but they were like, "Oh no, you're not big enough for this. You're not, you're not to that age yet," or they would just be somewhere else where it's just like they might be with their friends or something like that. So when I would go spend my time like elsewhere, when I couldn't hang with them, I would go be with my boy cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like I was the only girl. We would run through the projects, barefooted, race, foot racing, all through the woods and stuff like that. I was the only girl. Um,
Yeah, we
and
both grew up in the projects.
okay.
But I mean, I mean,
Listen, if you don't have no type of memories in the projects, whether you lived at them or you had some type of family there that you spent time with, if you have no memories in the projects, I'm so sorry to hear that you missed out
you
on
know,
a great experience. So any type of
it
memory where
really
you can say like you was in the
was.
projects,
It really was because
a
life
time.
was so simple and being happy was so
Oh my
simple.
God, that's all that mattered.
I mean, just going to somebody's birthday party back in the day was just like a big deal because you were around all your friends and you
Hot
know.
dogs, cupcakes, ice
Now I don't know about your
cream.
generation, but in my generation, like our friends were whoever my parents' friends' kids were.
We was cousins by that point.
Okay. Okay, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
you know how nowadays kids will find friends and then they want the parents to become friends?
yeah,
No, with them it was the opposite.
yeah.
Whoever my parents were friends with, we were
That's
friends with their kids
right,
by default.
right.
Okay?
And when y'all go out somewhere, y'all cousins
Right.
by default.
And it just made for a good time. It felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish for people, especially young kids growing up, that there's a lot of kids who don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And
And you know what? That's why I love kids the way I do, and I take, I love kids. Like growing up, I was not always like that. My mom would tell you, I don't like kids. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, then like kids.
here's what I tell you, kids don't forget. So I remember some stuff that was done to me as a kid. I still, all these years later, I still remember it.
Listen, because at that age when we are kids, our brains are like more like sponges. You know what I'm saying? Like we're aware, we're conscious, but we're not so like mindful of like what consequences come with the actions that we do. All we know is that we want to do a certain thing. And we're not being so mindful and aware of what comes with what we
And
do.
I
Whereas
think that,
adults,
did you notice that you were very successful when you weren't thinking about the consequences? Think about as a kid, the stuff that you did, like even the acrobats, like if you did some, like a flip or something, you just knew you were going to do that flip until you did.
I don't know, I remember
And then as
flipping.
an adult, you become a little more apprehensive or like, oh, maybe that might not work,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that kid mentality is so healthy.
Yeah. Because it's like it's easy to be brave that way when you're more ignorant to what could really be.
Your ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.